Yeah, sorry. I'm not sure what's going on there, but yeah, but when you've had a big drop in weight, it's quite common for to start feeling a little bit hungry again and start feeling like a little bit of lower on energy, etc., etc. That's because you've had, imagine a big energy sort of being absorbed from you to drop the weight, and then your body starts feeling that, and then it will adapt at that sort of lower amount of energy that you're obviously consuming, and then obviously it will start coming down. So you usually see like a little big drop in your first couple of days into a diet coming off the back of something. Same as like each weekend, you usually see it go up at the weekend, big drop, plateau, and that's sort of obviously what my job is to do, is to sort of navigate around that and talk about these things. But the main thing I wanted to talk about today was the difference between like cardio, steps, low intensity cardio, and high intensity cardio. So like HIIT. But I just want to quickly touch on meal prep and making meal prep easy. Caroline, I know you're taking a sip of your tea there, hiding in the background, but I'm gonna pick on you. Where did you stress at from today? If you just unmute yourself, what was stressing you out with meal prep last week? Was it the amount of time it took? Was it what to make? Give me a little bit of indication so I can.
No, it was what I had in the fridge and what I planned to make. And the fact that I came from work and I was super tired, and I just thought I gotta use it because I already like had a plan, you know, to log it and everything.
Yeah.
And then I had to make it, and it was that pad thai that Claire posted on the group.
Yeah.
And I thought, do I fancy making pad thai now? Absolutely not.
Yeah. So the thing that I completely get that, and I get it as well. Like Mondays for me, obviously, I check in with all you guys as nearly 50 of you. I check in with a Monday, and then I do my online coaching, and then I do some one-to-ones in the gym. So Mondays for me are hectic, and then I get in and I'm like, can I be asked to meal prep for the week? And I know if I try and make my dinner on a Monday, there's absolutely no chance that I'm going to have time to get it done. So it's finding, and this is what ELIMIN8 is about, is finding what works for you, and you'll find things. So in an ideal world, like for me, I make it on a Sunday, but at the same time, I can't really be asked getting up on a Sunday and going and wasting my Sunday meal prepping. So what I sort of do myself is like go, and that's why you'll see me post the same boring chicken, peppers, courgette, fajitas for the start of the week, is because on a Sunday, my sort of routine as such is I'll get up. Once I'm up, I'll go to the shop, go buy everything, like my chicken, peppers, courgettes, for example. And then I'll go out and do all my stuff. Like if I want to go for breakfast, if I want to go for a coffee, if I want to go for a walk and catch up with friends, do all that. And then the food's there ready to be cooked. And I'll try and find the best part of half an hour to make it. And this is what I posted in the group the other day, is my backup, the diet that will change your life, sort of your safe haven meal prep. It is, you create something that's really easy for yourself. So my chicken, peppers, courgettes, and anyone who's trained with me for a long period of time probably bored of hearing it or bored of seeing it, is I do that when I know I'm going through busy periods, or when I know I'm doing like my cut. So I'm going obviously to Thailand and Dubai. I've got a very, very short period. I only eat like that for them short periods, and it's like my safe haven. If I've got the time and I want to make something else for dinner, or I want to have something different to my normal safe haven diet, I'll make it. But I always use that when I'm stressed, when I'm busy, when I've got a short deadline, and it's something I always fall back on. And when I say meal prep, it takes me half an hour to make 8 meals, and that's it. So that's something I've created over time. And if you look in the group, you'll see it in there, is I know exactly what I need to get from the shop. I know exactly how long it takes. I know exactly how many calories are in it. And yes, it's not the most fun way of dieting. And yes, it's not the most extravagant sort of meal, but it gets the job done. And it does the same for if you've just come back off like a heavy weekend. Chloe, I'm looking at you here. Chloe's just come off the back of like being away in Liverpool for the weekend. So she might be like, right, if I try and start dieting, start making pad thais on a Monday and katsu chicken curry on Tuesday, she'd be like, oh, I'm bored of this diet. It's too hard work. It's stressing me out. So she'd go back to sort of the equivalent of like the chicken fajitas, which I know is not ideal, but to get her through them first 3 days till she's got a bit more time to cook, it's her fallback diet. And that's what I would sort of say with meal prep. And if you think about meal prep, it's just your protein and your veg. Don't worry about like things like your rice. You can get the microwave rice, add back to it. Noodles take a couple of minutes. Potatoes, you can get micro potatoes, or you can just boil potatoes when you do it. But if you think of meal prep as just batch cooking your protein and your veg, it becomes a lot easier. And then if you start thinking about your snacks and your breakfast, you don't really need to meal prep that. Most people have the best part of a smoothie, a shake, eggs, oats, or yogurt for breakfast. You don't need to go and meal prep that. And the same with your snacks. When I asked for snack ideas, everyone's been basically posting protein bars and yogurts. You don't need to meal prep that. So now if you start thinking, right, my lunch is the most important thing to meal prep, because when I'm at work, I'm not sure if you turned into Darth Vader there, Carlos, or you just leant on the speaker. But what you do is if you prep your lunch, that's ticked off. Then when you get in for that night, you've still got an opportunity to make dinner and you're not already behind. If you don't make it and you go for convenience, then that's okay. And that's why when you do sort of meal prep and you start building in and you just start doing it for long periods of time, you'll have stuff in your cupboards. Like I've got, for example, mine, I've got fresh fruit, frozen fruit, fresh veg, for frozen fruit, canned stuff. It's sort of things I keep in and around, and then I'll know, right, I've got all of this in there. This is what I can make, what I'll do when I can be bothered, what I can do when I can't be bothered. And that sort of takes time and it takes experience, but it will make sense and it'll come. But start with just your lunch. If you're ever stressed, just think about, right, I need to get my lunch in for the next day, because you're at work. You can't do anything about it when you're at work. You've got your lunch done. And if you feel like it that evening, you'll make your dinner. But if you don't make your dinner, you're only one meal behind. Whereas if you have a busy week and you don't sort your lunch out, you could be 3-4 days, 3-4 meals behind. So that's what I'd always say, focus on the meals that are going to affect your week the most, and it tends to be your lunch, because everything else you can sort of make on the go, or you can have more time to do. Does that make sense? Good. Any questions on meal prep from anyone else? What I would say is use that comment I put in the group. It's quite long, but it sort of talks about like what I do when I'm on a diet. Like, so for example, I'll have let's just call it like my oats. It's the easiest way to explain it. All year round, like if I'm done, I don't eat porridge every day for 365 days a year, but let's just say all year round I eat 75 grams of oats. If I'm trying to put on size, I will up it by 25 grams and have 100. If I'm trying to diet, I will drop it and put it down to 50. So therefore, it's my safe diet. Like if I need to be like, right, I'm stressed, I'm starting to put on weight, I go back to, I need to lose some weight, I'll just drop it down to 50. If I'm not right, I need to put on weight. It just creates this safe sort of place for you to always fall back on. So think about that. It doesn't mean you have to eat that for the rest of your life. And that's not the only way to lose weight, by following that diet I've put in there. It's to say, it's more there for you to be like, right, create something that works for you. When you're having a stressful week, when you're becoming attached to MyFitnessPal and you need to come off track, and just stop tracking and go, right, I know that's about 1,500 calories. If I stick to that, it will do. And always focus your meal prep in and around your lunch first, batch cooking your meat and veg, and then everything else from there should sort of take care of itself. But experience comes and you will learn. Like if you had it nailed week 1, you wouldn't even be on this call now. You know what I mean? Think of that, because you wouldn't have got to where you are if you were perfect with cooking. So don't worry about it. Any questions on meal prep from anyone? Either post in the group or ask me. No comments on meal prep. Everyone happy with their breakfast, lunch, or dinners, and what to do if they're not meal prepping, if they're picking up a sandwich from the shop, or if they're out and about at weekends, what to do with meals out. Any question on food, because this will probably be one of the last times we talk about food as a topic. We'll obviously answer questions each week. But does anyone want to talk about anything food related before I move on? Good with meal prep, yeah, smashing it, well done. Okay, right, moving on. In the chat, anyone know the difference between steps and cardio? Why do you see a lot of people walking on a treadmill rather than walking outside, especially like when it's nice weather, like just go for a walk outside, the weather's nice, and you see people doing like incline walking or anything like that? Does anyone know why? No comments unless NEAT vs cardio. Yeah, basically that's what I'm getting at. So do you know what the difference is and what constitutes NEAT and what constitutes cardio? You can set a speed. Everyone's keeping quiet. That is good. I don't mind quiet. Basically, yeah, you're right, Charlotte. NEAT and cardio. So NEAT is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That's basically anything you do that isn't a designated activity. So like your weight training, your steps, your cardio, your 5K run, your swimming, spinning classes, etc., etc. That's just your day-to-day life, is your energy expenditure. Cardio is obviously when you're in a cardiovascular zone. Everybody is different, so heart rates are different. We know it's 220 minus your age tends to be your max heart rate, but I've been on a few runs and that's gone way over that 100 and 220 take away 21, 31. But my heart rate's gone well above that. So if we consider the zones, if most of you are checking your heart rate now, it'll probably be somewhat between like 50 to 80 sat still, depending on what you've done before. If any of you's got to watch, and is anyone above 80 just sitting still? Let me know below, and also probably let your doctor know. But it should be somewhere around that 50 to 80 mark, sitting still, depending on fitness levels. Going for a walk outside, like normal steps, unless you're putting a little bit of a kick to it. 89. Chloe, you've just had a weekend full of booze in Liverpool, so yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if there was anything else involved, but let's just say it was alcohol for the weekend. But your heart rate's obviously through the roof because you've come off the back of obviously loads and loads of alcohol, and obviously partying and dancing, and your heart rate's up, and you've come back to Jersey today, so your body will just be leveling itself out. Then obviously with walking outside, your heart rate will probably sitting at 80 to 110, maybe go up a little bit above that, depending on how fast you're walking and for a consistent time. So that's probably what heard people call like a fat burning zone and things like that. This is going down why keto diets work. I'll talk about that another time. And then anything from that 120 to your 150 is a nice cardiovascular zone. 150 to 165, 70 is what we call the gray area. And then 170 to your max heart rate is what we call like high intensity, sort of anaerobic zone. So basically, the difference between steps and cardio and why we have different targets for steps and cardio is based on your heart rate. So you will burn. Does anyone actually know how we burn calories? If we talk about does it go on to our step? Does it go on us how much we sweat? Does anyone sort of know how calories are burned? Don't be shy. Someone put a comment in. So no one's brave enough. Calories are basically burnt through breathing them out. So the higher your heart rate, the more calories you burn. So this is why we have the conversation. Well, if that's the case, what's better? If we're talking steps is your lowest heart rate, list low intensity, that 120 to 150 for your heart rate, and then HIIT being 170 plus. What's best for burning calories then? Comment in the group. A being steps, B being list, C being HIIT. There's no right or wrong answer on this, just to let you know. So just give me an A, B, or C. 12 is in the group. C, Malin. Well done for piping up first. Angelo, B, C. Charlotte, C, C. So evidently the answer on looking at the forefront there is C. It's like, yeah, because we burn calories breathing out. So the higher the heart rate, the higher the breath, you're going to burn more calories in through HIIT. But now if I asked you the question, right, sprints so if we were to do a high intensity class, most high intensity classes are half an hour. So you would burn more calories in that half an hour doing HIIT, right? But what if I said today you done a spinning class, or let's call it burpees, half an hour of burpees, right? Your body's in absolute bits. Would you be able to do half an hour of burpees tomorrow? And then the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day? Or do you think eventually that's going to make you crash on your diet and you're going to feel absolutely blitzed and you're going to be like, that's me, I'm done with ELIMIN8, I'm fed up of burpees? You're probably going to be fed up. So if you were to isolate a period of half an hour and you do steps, cardio, like low intensity cardio and HIIT, yes, HIIT would burn the most calories. But what these studies and things don't take into consideration is your recovery and how often you can do it. So I say HIIT should be horrible. HIIT should be to the point where your head's spinning, you're looking at the floor, you're seeing little Tweety birds. That's what HIIT should be. You should be only able to do that once or twice a week. Your low intensity steady state cardio is you could probably do that the best part of 3 to 4 times a week. So some of you I think I've said to get involved in incline walking. And the reason for that is you can probably do an incline walk every day. So let's call HIIT, you burn 500 calories. You can do that once a week. Now we start talking, doing low intensity steady state cardio, you're recovering from it, your hunger levels are not through the roof, and you do that 4 times, you've now doubled the amount of output that you can actually do. So you're now burning 1,000 calories of cardio through 1,000 calories through cardio by doing this instead of HIIT. And then you've obviously got your steps, which you can do all day, every day without any sort of repercussions on your energy levels. So when it comes to what's right, it comes down to preference and what you can recover from. So that's how I would view cardio. So if I just get up, I'm just going to share my screen. Hopefully this doesn't crash again. Let's hope I haven't got anyone up. I drive, let me just go, client folders, ELIMIN8, let me go, 3.0, spare folders. So this is in this column, as we come down, when I say cardio, this isn't like your active calories on your watch. What this column here on your cardio tab is like an intended cardio session. So here, if you've done 5K, I don't think you have the ability to write numbers in, which is quite annoying. It would be 312. So it's not how many times. So your heart rate, if you especially wear an Apple Watch, will show your cardio, total cardio for the day. So every time your heart rate goes above 120, it will top up that cardio amount. So you might see someone putting in like 70, 90, 100 every day, but that's not what it is. It's an intended cardio session. So anytime you intend to get your heart rate above 120, so that'll be like an incline walk, the step of 5K, spinning, a specific cardio session. So that's where if you've got like times 1 to 2 cardio, so I might put it as here times 1, or I might tell you to burn 250 calories of cardio. So you can do that any way you like. That is the difference between sort of steps, lists, and HIIT. If you think steps can be done all the time, so keep that separate. Then from a cardio point of view, HIIT these lists, think of it as what can you recover from? Like, sorry to pick on you each week, Danny, but Danny plays football. And obviously, if Danny's playing 11-a-side football, he'll be able to play that once a week, probably to a decent level, to a decent intensity. But if he was to play a 90-minute football match every single day of the week, come day 2 or 3, his body would just be in bits and not recovering. So that's why you pick your HIIT sessions and you implement them where you think is best. And now it comes down to, we'll go back into the Zoom call, stop the share. Then it comes down to when should you do it? When do you think, yeah, Michelle, you would. So if you go for a 5, like, again, this covers your question from last week. Sorry, Michelle just asked to include the 5K run into our total step. Yeah. The reason for that is if you use the same measurement every single time you do things, it doesn't really matter. Like if you included 5K in your steps and you've done 5K every week and you included it next week and the week after and the week after, it continues to exactly the same, then that's the way you should do it. It doesn't really matter what measurement you use, as long as you are consistent with your measurement. But for the sake of Eliminate, if your weight's coming down, your energy's good, you're hitting your cardio consistently, that don't stress too much about it. But what I would say is, yeah, if I include it, so if I do a 30-minute incline walk, so I'm quite big into my running and my football, but when I'm at the last 3 weeks of my cuts, especially when I get sort of down to less than 10% body fat, I swap my cardio from runs to incline walks, which probably doesn't make sense from a outside point of view. It'd be like, why do you drop the intensity when you need to get over the line? And it's because if I was to do sprints or go for a 5K, my recovery would be terrible. Therefore, I'd more likely to quit my diet and therefore overeat. So you've got to think about like binging when you're at that sort of level lean. Like, you'll probably be all right till you get down in an 8-week period. You'll probably be all right, like in terms of them hunger levels. But I'm thinking post Eliminate, I want to teach you for the sake of going forward rather than just Eliminate. So does that make sense from a cardio point of view? Give me like a little yes if that all makes sense, or a no if it doesn't, in the comments. No one. Yes, all good. Right, sound. So yeah, cardio before or after weights, what do we reckon? Just put a B for before, A for after in the group, in the chat. After. Does anybody know why? Feel free to unmute yourself as to why we do it after. There you go. Charlotte's nailed it. Angelo saw my Instagram post. My man, the support's real, mate. Hopefully you liked it for the Instagram algorithms for me. That's all I care about. Yeah, basically what Charlotte said there. So your main focus for you guys in Eliminate is to physically change your body, get that aesthetically pleasing look and change it for that. So you want to focus your strength in terms of building your body. And then this is the way I imagine it. Imagine strength training as you've built the masterpiece, right? And your cardio is you just chipping away at the blocks. A masterpiece underneath it, and your cardio and your steps and that is just you chisel away till you've got one of them statues in Rome. That's what we're going for. So just think of it like that. So your strength training, you want all your focus to build the masterpiece, and then obviously your cardio supplementary to that. If we had a marathon runner, I would get them. This comes into something different. But if you're really into your running and things like that, and your priority was your marathon, I know this sounds stupid, but I would get them to train legs the day after they've done their, or the day or two after they've done their sort of long run, their 21K half. Does anyone know why I would do that? Why you would put legs for a runner the day after the legs day after their long run? Or I'll flip it into a weight training perspective. Why would I put a run the day or two after your leg session? Anyone? No. Again, think about recovery. So if I gave you, yeah, Charlotte again, so you have time to recover. So if you done legs on a Monday, by the time, and you've done your run on Tuesday or Wednesday, by the time you come back round to Monday, your legs should be fully recovered and you should be able to progressively overload. And legs being such a dominant muscle, the calories obviously output from the training is going to be better. Whereas you're more likely to get injured in your leg sessions and not push yourself as much or be as progressive if you were to run on Saturday, Sunday, train legs on Monday. And Danny, I wonder what your training legs are like on a Monday or Tuesday going in after a big game at the weekend. I bet you sort of dread them. I know obviously I play footy myself, so I know what it's like trying to do a leg session on Monday. It's like, it's a no-go. Your hamstrings are still killing you. You're worried you're going to burn.
Yeah, I made the mistake last week of training legs and then going to football training afterwards, so probably won't do that again.
Yeah, but again, I actually do train legs on a Tuesday and then go to 30. And the reason being, it's the blood flow stimulates back to legs. And okay, I might not be the best player at training, but I've started the recovery phase, and I'd much rather be crap at training than crap on a Saturday when the game is. So yeah, just think about recovery. It's not end of the world, but also think about injury prevention. So that's probably everything from a cardio point of view. But it probably makes sense as to, right, there's a difference for that. What should you guys do? From here, follow the steps. You follow the nutrition and the steps within ELIMIN8, you will make progress. When you need to start doing cardio is if you want to give yourself a little bit of a push, but don't implement cardio and running if you're already hungry on a diet. You want to sort of do it if you're not hungry and your recovery is well. So what cardio should you do? Again, subjective to each person. If you are already running and you are into running, fine, keep it up. If you are starting to hit the sort of leaner end of the spectrum, or your recovery is never great from cardio, then pick lower intensity cardio. For the sake of ELIMIN8, the most important thing is nutrition. So make sure you're not going over your calories by running, because running can stimulate hormones to make you feel hungrier. So just be aware of that. If you are going to do it, I would probably prefer you let me know if you're going to run, put it in your comments. If you are going to, and you want to implement cardio, stick it to once to twice a week of the low intensity. You can go up to 3 if you really want to, but again, make sure you're recovering and make sure you're sticking to your diet before you start implementing 3 days low intensity cardio. Can you still do classes? Can you still do HIIT? Can you still do spinning? Yes. Once or twice a week maximum. If you are getting extremely hungry and your recovery is poor and you're not sleeping well and you're agitated, again, let me know in your comments, or maybe drop it down to once a week for the moment, and then you can always pick these things back up. Remember, things can change. Like, you can change from a 3-day workout to a 4-day workout. You can change from doing 1 day's cardio to 2 days cardio. ELIMIN8 is all about finding your structure, finding your routine, finding your balance, finding what works for you on a maximum and a minimum, and finding your balance in between. So hopefully that makes sense. Has that cleared up sort of cardio for people, and obviously meal prep at the start? Let me know if there is anything else you would like me to cover in terms of like meal prep, cardio, and making sense to start with the lunch. Control what, basically you want to make the most difficult thing in your week the easiest thing, or make it easy and most in control so it doesn't affect anything else. Everyone happy with, we'll start with meal prep. Everyone happy with the meal prep? Just give me a Y if you are, or give me a no if there's something else you want to ask. Yes. Good. Everyone happy with cardio? And what cardio we'll start with from anyone after Angelo. Just put a yes if you're happy with the cardio and the difference between it and anything like that. Does anyone want to know if they should be doing anything, if I should put them into cardio? Any difference between less and HIIT? No. Cool. So we're gonna go for the winner of, I'm gonna do a joint winner for the fake away. We had some great entries, some lovely curries, some lovely chicken burgers, but putting everything down, all from aesthetics, protein, tagging me on Instagram. Joint winner of Angelo's noodles and Kelsey's chicken. They looked incredible, but we did have some unreal curries coming in, and the chicken burgers all looked insane. And Carlos had 2 entries. His curry looked unreal, but I think points deducted, Carlos, because you didn't put the rice in, so, and the rice came to the aesthetic, so apologies for that, but you're definitely going to win something. In terms of the challenge next week, I am going to leave it up to you guys, because I want you to get the most out of this. We're either going to do a low calorie dessert, breakfast, or a scenic view on the walk to get the steps and keep some accountability. What do we want? Do we want low calorie dessert as A, B being breakfast, or C being the walk, the scenic view? A, B, or C? A. Charlotte, say. C view. Oh, 2 C views. C view. Go on. We'll do one that's not food, and then so we're gonna go scenic view on your walk. We'll get it done. We'll balance out because there's too many good cooks in the group, and they're putting me to shame as well. So I'll post it in the group. Thanks everyone for joining. Keep going, and yeah, really honestly, I know I'll talk about next week's topic is about scale weight, why not to focus on it, why it fluctuates, etc., etc. A lot of people are unhappy with their progress when progress is insane. You should be losing 0.5 to 1% of your body weight a week. So if you're 75 kilos, that's 0.3 to 0.7. You're 60, it's 0.3 to 0.6. Don't react week on week. So if you've lost like a certain amount, say for example, let's pick a number, 70 kg. If you've lost 1.4 kg, you're at the higher end of weight loss. If you've lost 0.7, you're at the lower end. If you're somewhere in between, you're on track. Be aware of how much weight you should actually be losing. So that's 0.5 to 1%, and think of it over weeks to come. Most of you, I think pretty much all of you, are along that line. And remember, the leaner you are, the less fluctuations you're going to have in weight. I'm really happy with everyone's weight loss and progress. Anyway, especially obviously you guys on the call. I can see all the names. So yeah, well done everyone. Happy with that, and I will post this video in the group tomorrow. But have a wonderful evening, and I look forward to seeing some of them scenic views.
Thanks, Bob. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
Right, cheers guys. Bye bye. Have a nice evening.